the meeting. Why? I don't know. I got a message that some people will be removed from this meeting. So anyway, some problem maybe with the network for him. Right. So the entropy that we discussed, the first law of thermodynamics that we discussed, and after that, so many consequences that we discussed based upon the first law of thermodynamics. Consequences in the sense that its implications in atmosphere in different situations. That's what we're trying to discuss about the different ways of visualizing the first law of thermodynamics, right, in terms of the atmospheric science, right? Similarly, when we talked about the entropy, as you know, by now, both from the fundamental aspects of entropy that you have studied in your physics, as well as from the atmospheric point of view. Okay. Now, today's class, as I said, will be more like an interactive class. I will be talking to each one of you, maybe, and you have to respond. Okay. And you can also ask any question about whatever we have discussed so far in the classes. Lecture wise, if I see altogether today, maybe 29th or 30th of lecture. Okay. Out of the 29, 30 lecture, only 20, 21 lectures we have discussed about the atmospheric thermodynamics. And before that, we discuss some other topics. Right. So today in class will be more like having an open interactive discussion, and try to summarize the atmospheric thermodynamics. Okay, in that way. So now we studied about the entropy. Okay, and we have also studied entropy earlier in your graduation level. Okay. Now I'll ask one by one, maybe who can answer. Now, Vishal, can you explain what is entropy from your point of view? Vishal. Vishal, are you able to hear me? Maybe when I ask you now, because today's class is more interactive, so switch on your video when you're talking so that I see you. Vishal, can you hear me? You're not responding at all. That means he's not listening. Maybe he has just logged in and gone somewhere. Okay, I come to Rahul. Rahul, switch on your video and then answer my question. Rahul. Rahul? Rahul, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, switch on the video and then let's discuss. Okay, let's discuss. It is an open discussion. Now keep your video on. Keep your video on. Okay. Yeah.
On.
Yeah. Keep it on. Keep it on. While we are talking to each other directly, now keep it on. Keep it on.
1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Network issue, sir.
Network issue. Yeah. So now tell us from your point of view. From your point of view, what do you understand about the entropy? Again, your video is off. If it is a serious network problem, then it's okay. You can only talk. Need not be on video.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
It is a thermodynamic quantity represent the inability of a system thermal energy for convert into mechanical work, sir.
It is a thermodynamic energy available.
Quantity to represent. Inability of system thermal energy to convert into mechanical energy.
To convert into mechanical energy. And what is the second law of thermodynamics?
Sir, for second law, sir. In mathematically, sir.
You tell me by words, in terms of words, language. Explain.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. in terms of the words, what is the second law of thermodynamics?
Sir, entropy is an isolated system that is not in equilibrium while tend to increase over the time until reach the maximum equilibrium level.
In a reversible or in a irreversible process?
For sir, irreversible.
Irreversible.
Hello.
Irreversible process, right? Irreversible. That is the entropy. You said that entropy will keep on increasing unless it becomes in equilibrium. Is that what you said? In a irreversible process. Rahul? Is that
Yes,
what
sir. Hello.
Is that correct? Is that what you say?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me come to Vishal. Have you come? Vishal, have you come back? Vishal is not responding. Vishal is not responding.
Hello. Sir.
Yeah, I can hear you. I think you have some problem with the network. Vishal, I don't know whether he is gone somewhere. Alvin, can you explain the entropy? Alvin, can you hear me? Alvin, why people are not responding? Alvin? Yeah, switch on your video and you tell me about your opinion, your idea about what is entropy and how it is applicable in atmosphere. Alvin.
It's the amount of available energy that can be converted
into
useful work.
So what is the second law of thermodynamics then? Keep our video on. When we are talking today, we are having an interactive class, like more interactive class. So keep your video on.
The second law says for an irreversible process, the entropy increases with time.
Entropy increases with time. So if the entropy continuously increases with time, then it will have an infinite value after some time. It will become an infinite value. So will that happen?
Till it becomes an equilibrium. Like for the final entropy must be greater than initial.
Okay, Mobin, tell me your opinion about the entropy. What do you understand about the entropy and how it is applicable to atmosphere? Mobin, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sit on your video and explain your opinion.
So, entropy means the disorder. As a disorder increases, we say.
Just tell me in terms of your own understanding, right? It need not be the definition of the book. What you have understood by entropy.
Sorry.
Okay, now I ask Sri Lakshmi. Switch on your video.
Yes,
Sri
sir.
Lakshmi, switch on your video. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And explain in your opinion, what do you understand by entropy and how it can be applied, how it is applicable to atmosphere?
Sir, as Mobin told, entropy is the degree of disorder. And also, entropy remains constant during adiabatic changes. Since the equation itself says that dq by dt is constant, then sir, and also the entropy can never be zero, sir.
Okay, so entropy keeps on increasing in the irreversible process or it remains in equilibrium or constant in a reversible process, right?
Yes, sir.
So in some sense, we can say that entropy obeys the law of conservation. Do you agree?
No,
Entropy? No?
no.
If entropy remains constant, it does not change in a reversible process, then why
Okay.
we can't say that this is a law of conservation or it obeys the law of conservation?
So can you repeat it again?
When we say law of conservation, that means something which remains always conserved, right?
Mm. Mm. Yes, sir.
That is the law of conservation, right? It always remains conserved. And to say that the entropy does not change in a reversible process. The entropy does not change in a reversible process.
Okay, sir.
So can we say that the entropy is a conserved quantity or it remains conserved or it obeys the law of conservation? Can we say that?
Sir, it obeys. Sir, entropy can be changed, sir. So it obeys the
Can
law
be
of
changed,
conservation.
can be changed when in a reversible or in a irreversible process?
Sir, in a irreversible process.
In an irreversible process, right? But in a
Yes, sir.
reversible process, since it cannot be changed, so can we say that it obeys the law of conservation in a reversible process?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, think. I'm just giving you opportunity to think today because we are just
Yes.
trying to now discuss about all that we have studied so far in last 30
Yes.
lectures. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now I ask Anjali. Anjali, switch on your video and let us discuss. Anjali.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, switch on your video. Okay. Now you tell me in your words. Okay. What is your opinion about the entropy and how it can be applied to the atmosphere?
Entropy is a function of the system.
Okay, function of the system.
Entropy is changing with time.
Changing with time, always.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it does not remain constant. It is always changing with time. Is it a conserved quantity or not a conserved quantity?
It's a conserved quantity.
Always or in certain situation only?
Sir?
Is it always conserved quantity or is it conserved only under certain situation?
I don't know, sir.
Now tell me what is your opinion, because now you're studying master's level. Already you have studied the graduation level. Now you're at the master's level. So after completing this course, you will become the master of science in this subject, right? You will become a master of science in this subject. So to develop the mastery of this subject, you will have your own thinking, logic. So give your logic that why entropy is a conserved quantity, whether it is a conserved quantity or not a conserved quantity, if it is a conserved quantity, under what circumstances it is conserved, and in what circumstances it is not conserved, especially from the point of view of atmosphere. Not able to think right now much, is it? What we are talking about is our day-to-day experiences. That is the beauty of this subject. when we talk about the atmospheric science, the beauty of this subject is that we're talking about our day-to-day experiences, things which are applied in the atmosphere in which we are living. Every day we are living in the atmosphere. Can we live even for a minute or even for a day without the atmosphere? If we are put into a planet where there is no atmosphere, can we survive even for a minute? Yes or no? We are put into a planet. Yeah, tell me.
Your voice is breaking, sir.
My voice is breaking. Oh, I see. I don't know whether others are able to hear me clearly. Whether others are able to hear me clearly?
Sir, I can't hear you clearly.
Oh, is that so?
Sir, sometimes it's
Sometimes
lagging.
it is lagging, sometimes. Oh, today, I don't know. Maybe because in Rajasthan, in northern India, the weather is not so good these days. Because of the weather, the network problem. I mean, is it okay? Am I audible now? Better
Yes,
or
sir.
not? Okay, okay. So I was trying to discuss that now from the day-to-day experience, because we are all living in the atmosphere, right? So we should be able to feel or give the example of our real life experience about the subject which we are studying. So when I said give some example of the entropy in the atmosphere, and now some of you said that entropy remains conserved in a reversible process. Some of you said that entropy will always increase, right? So in a real life situation, what will happen? Will it remain conserved or will it remain unconserved? Will it obey the law of conservation or will it violate the law of conservation? Could you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So anyway, think I'll go to the next student, Deepak. Deepak, can you switch on
Yes,
your
sir.
video? Yeah, switch on your video and explain
Yes,
in
sir.
your word. Yeah, what do you understand by entropy?
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible to me.
Yes, sir. So, entropy, my understanding of entropy is this, sir. Entropy is the measure of randomness or disorderness of a system.
Okay.
It's a thermodynamic quantity. It's a state function. Entropy is a state function. And I remember, sir, entropy of a reversible process is conserved.
Okay. Very good.
And entropy of a irreversible process is like it increases, sir. And
Okay.
in a reversible process, the entropy of the universe is conserved, is constant.
Right. Right.
Sir, and you asked about day-to-day actions, right, sir? In day-to-day life, there are not many reversible processes, I think, sir. So most or all of the processes are irreversible. So entropy increases.
Okay.
Entropy of the universe increases, sir.
So if the entropy of the universe increases, it will constantly keep increasing, and beyond certain point or after some time, the value of entropy will become infinite. Do you think that is correct?
Sir, maybe, sir, I don't really know, sir.
Okay, you have not thought about that, right? Because when we talk about the entropy of the universe, global, right? And if it does not remain conserved, it will keep on increasing, but then sometime the age of the Earth, for example, you may
Sir,
have-
sir, I think since the universe is constantly expanding, the entropy must be increasing, right, sir?
yeah, in terms of the galaxy, when you think about the universe and the galaxy, yeah, it's fine. I mean, so it depends on what is the time scale, right? It depends on what is the time scale, right? And when we say that the galaxy and universe are expanding, that means we are talking in a very large time scale of millennium, right? Isn't it? Millions of years. In that time scale, we're talking about, thinking about. That the universe is
Yes, sir.
expanding, and so entropy must be increasing. Right? But let's say on our short lifespan, now the average life of the human being could be how much? 80, 90, 100 years,
It's close to 70.
or close to
It's actually
70.
close to 60, sir, now.
Some people say now the lifespan has decreased. Some people say that lifespan has decreased. Also depends on country to country. Right? Japanese have a longer life. Things like that people say. Right? But the thing is, in terms of this, let's say 100 years. I mean, when we say about the climate scale, 100 years is just a normal thing, right? Because we say century, 18th century, 19th century, right, 20th century, etc. So in terms of 100 years or 1,000 years, if we are integrating the quantity of atmosphere, for example, let us say the moisture. I'm just taking an example, giving you an example of moisture, right? Water vapor. The total water vapor of the atmosphere, the total water vapor which is present in the Earth's atmosphere, either conserved or not conserved.
Sir, it is conserved, sir.
It is conserved on
Yes,
a
sir.
which time scale and which horizontal scale?
Sir, time scale, I don't know, sir. Like, since all the water or water vapors on the earth is like introduced into earth by comets and some interstellar objects. It's not actually from earth. So since the introduction of water to earth, I think it is conserved, sir. Since there is an atmosphere around earth, it's preventing escape of gases. So in that sense, I think it is conserved.
Okay, good. So good that you at least applied some logic to your own thinking, right? Let me now also talk to, say, Barsa. Barsa, can you express your understanding about the entropy and the law of
Yes,
conservation? Yeah, explain in your own words.
So entropy is we can in general say entropy is a measure of the disturbance in a system. In a system, but from the second law of thermodynamics, we can define entropy as a thermodynamic quantity that represents the system's thermal energy that is there for conversion into mechanical work. And it is in general interpreted as the degree of randomness or disorderness or uncertainty in the system, but from the but from but from second law we can define it like that availability of a system's thermal energy to convert into mechanical energy. And from the statement of the second law, we can say that del S is equal to del Q by T. From that we can define it like that.
So that means that you said that entropy is a measure of the disturbances. Yeah, keep your video on. Keep your video on.
Yes, sir.
Entropy, yeah, entropy.
Sir, actually, the network is not so good. So actually, the video is coming and going. I have switched it on, but it's coming and going of its own.
I see. It's okay. So you said that the entropy is in some sense, it is a measure of the disturbances, right? So
Yes, sir.
So that means whatever disturbances occur, say in the atmosphere, when we say disturbances in the atmosphere, and yesterday we were talking
Yes,
about
sir.
the Western disturbance, right? Yesterday
Yes,
we were
sir.
talking about Western disturbance. So disturbances in the atmosphere that comes from the west or propagate from the west to east. So can we say that the atmospheric disturbances are because of the entropy of the atmosphere, or indicates
Sir,
the
actually, yes, there are several ways. If entropy can be whenever there is an increase in entropy, there is disturbance in the system. Entropy can be increased in several ways, due to heating. Because of uneven heating of the Earth system, there is increase in entropy, and that causes instability in the atmosphere. And we have also derived that Brunt-Beshala frequency gives a measure of the instability in the atmosphere. In the atmosphere, and that's how we can say that an increase in entropy gives us an unstable atmosphere, whereas a decrease in entropy will be a stable atmosphere.
Okay, yeah, good logic, good logic. Now let me go to Trishna. Trishna, can you express your opinion?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Entropy is the ratio of the quantity of the heat that is added to the system reversibly to the temperature T.
Switch on your video.
Sir, entropy.
Switch on your video also. Okay, yeah. Go on. Go ahead. Yeah. So, what is your understanding about the application of the entropy to the atmosphere?
Sir, entropy is the function of the system. Doesn't depend upon the path.
Mm-hmm. So, now over a given time scale,
Sir, entropy
the Earth's
depends upon the
atmospheric
system,
system.
sir. It doesn't depend upon the path.
It doesn't depend on the path, right? Hello? Your
It
voice,
doesn't depend upon
your
the
voice
path.
is gone.
Yes, sir.
Maybe because of, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. So what will happen? Suppose when we say atmosphere is disturbed, when the atmosphere is disturbed, right, we get a lot of winds, very strong winds, right? That means some sort of a unstable situation, instability in the atmosphere, right? Or for example, suppose let us say if there is a depression, you know depression, right? You have heard about the depression, right? Yeah, depression in the Bay of Bengal. Let us say there is a depression in the Bay of Bengal, right? So that means atmosphere is disturbed or undisturbed?
Disturbed.
Disturbed.
So disturbed.
Right. So if the atmosphere is disturbed, that means whether the entropy has increased or decreased.
Sir, I can't say that.
You can't say that. Okay. So I think I have discussed with most of the people who is the person who is left who has not been able to express his opinion about entropy. Vishal, are you back or not? I think he just logged in and gone away somewhere. Movin, did I talk to you? Movin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Vishal. Yeah, I was calling your name earlier, but you were not responding. Switch on your video. Explain about your understanding of the entropy of the atmosphere, whether entropy remains conserved or if it increases, if it remains conserved, under what circumstances, if it increases, under what circumstances, what are its implications in atmosphere. Just explain in your own language.
So entropy means it is if we talk about the atmosphere, then it is actually the amount of the energy that disperse in the system. That means if like if we are boiling a water, then it increases the temperature, and we are putting heat into it, so entropy increases.
Mhm. So entropy increases, but over a short time scale or over a long time scale.
For a short time, no sir, it is for a short time, I guess.
And it is locally or globally.
Yes sir.
Is it locally? Does it increases locally, increases or decreases locally, or globally? Local and global.
I don't know sir.
Okay, now who is left? Mobin, did I call your name?
Yes, sir. You called my name.
We have discussed? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have discussed. So Prasov.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Now you express your opinion. Your chance.
Sir.
Yeah, keep your video on. Keep your video on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now express your views about the entropy of the system, the entropy of the atmosphere, the day-to-day life that we experience, about the entropy.
So entropy is a disorder in a system.
Okay. Not able to express more than that. Good. See, nowadays, the commercial people, when they develop a product commercially, then they will advertise that these many people are using our product day to day, every day. Like the software, for example, Java. Java is software. You have heard about that, Java? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Java. The Java developers, the company who sells Java, they will advertise that these many millions of people apply Java every day in their day-to-day life. Right? That's what they advertise, isn't it? Or for example, I don't know whether you have studied about the Kalman filter. Have you heard about the Kalman filter? Kalman filter in statistics or in statistical physics or in mathematics. Have you ever heard about the Kalman filter? Kalman filter? No?
No, sir.
Not yet. Has anybody heard about the Kalman filter? Am I audible?
No, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No,
You're
sir.
audible, sir.
somebody says yes, somebody says no. I mean, nobody has heard about the Kalman filter so far somewhere in your mathematics or somewhere in your physics or somewhere in your statistics in BSc level. Kalman filter. Kalman filter.
It measures the inequality
Video, yeah, switch on your video and tell us. Switch on your video.
Sir, I read somewhere, sir. It actually measures the in a statistical phenomenon, sir.
Yes.
In microscopic phenomenon, if there are some inaccuracies with that, sir, we can actually measure the how much inaccuracy or something like that.
Right. I mean, the Kalman filter developed long ago, right? It developed long ago, but it has got so much of application that we are able to achieve so much in science, people say, and also we use every day, our day-to-day life, because of the Kalman filter. Everywhere it is applied. Say, for example, I mean, the best example of Kalman filter, people say, is that it took the man on the moon. It took first man from the earth to the moon. Neil Armstrong, right? Who was the first person who landed on the moon? Who was the first person?
Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong, right? So it is said that Neil Armstrong could reach the moon because of the application of Kalman filter. And more importantly, it is the Kalman filter which brought him back to the earth safely. See? The first man on the moon could reach there safely, because of the application of Kalman filter. And more importantly, he was brought back to the earth because of the application of the Kalman filter. So what I'm trying to say that there's so much of application, people claim, every day. You must be using, many of you must have used nowadays those online taxis, Ola, Uber. How many of you have used Ola and Uber taxi? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
People
sir.
have been using this Ola Uber taxi, but the software which is used, for example, when you try to click the Ola or Uber and try to find out the taxi, then after some time the software will tell you, okay, I'm trying to contact the taxi for you, and after some time you'll get a call from the taxi, or you will get an address, location of the taxi driver, and you can also see the map, right, that where the taxi driver located. But is that taxi driver the one which is closest to you always? The taxi driver who is free, is he the one who is closest to you always? Do you understand my question and what I'm trying to explain? People think that my voice is not available. Okay. I don't know. Maybe today's problem of the network. Is it okay now?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm trying to explain that when you book a taxi by Ola or Uber, then is this the nearest driver who is free is connected to you?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Somebody
It
says,
always try to contact us with the nearest driver, but sometimes if the nearest, yes, sir, always the nearest one is. Yes, sir. If nearest is unavailable, then it gives the second nearest, means it tries always to get contact us with the nearest one.
well, the thing is, it considers so many factors, not only the distance between you and the driver. It considers so many factors. Like suppose some driver is sitting ideally for a very long time without any call, and he is also the closest to you. Or somebody who has just dropped a passenger nearby you, but another driver is also nearby you who has not got any call for a long time. And who will get the privilege to pick you up first?
Those who are free, sir, for a long time.
Yeah, so that means there are many other factors which are considered, right? And And the software which is developed by the Ola or what people or they used by them optimizes, optimization, the theory of optimization. Right? There is operational research subject also. People who study mathematics, statistics, they also sometimes specialize in operational research, School of Statistics application. So they optimize, the software will optimize. And then accordingly, it will take a decision. Right? So we're just trying to discuss from so many examples, illustrations about our day-to-day experiences and how it can be applied to atmospheric science. And in that context, we are discussing about the entropy, right? We talked about also the law of conservation, right? And we said that generally the atmosphere obeys the law of conservation, like conservation of mass, right? What are the laws of conservation? What are the laws of conservation? Rahul or Bijit? What are the laws of conservation? People are silent. What are the laws of conservation?
Conservation of mass and energy.
Yes.
And charge.
And?
Charge.
Charge. So the conservation of mass, energy, etc. So in other words, the atmosphere mass is already conserved, but is it conserved everywhere? Does it? I mean, suppose if I say that the mass is conserved, so does it mean that the mass of atmosphere, say Bijit lives in Assam, right? Bijit, the mass of atmosphere is conserved over Assam always. Bijit.
It transfers, sir.
Hmm?
It transfers, sir.
It will transfer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that means when we talk about the regional aspect, only our Assam, then it is not conserved, right?
Yes, sir.
Whether Assam or anywhere in Tamil Nadu or in Kerala or in India, for that matter, all over India also, if we talk about the conservation of mass, we know that the atmosphere observes the conservation theory or obeys the law of conservation. But it doesn't mean that the atmospheric mass or mass of the atmosphere remains conserved over India, no. Or the energy of the atmosphere will remain conserved over India, no. That is only true when we think in terms of globally, right? So in other words, when we are integrating, right, integrating the mass or the energy globally, that means triple integration, right? Integration in the horizontal direction, in X direction, in Y direction, in Z direction, and also in time, right? When we integrate the mass of the atmosphere in totality over the whole globe, Earth atmospheric system, then yes, it is conserved. And similarly, the energy, and similarly, the moisture. Because if it violates the law of conservation of energy, say, for example, if the moisture is not conserved, then a time will come when the atmosphere will lose all its moisture, just escape, it will go away from this to the space, outer space, and there will be no more moisture, water vapor left in the Earth atmospheric system, right? And since that cannot happen, doesn't happen, so that means moisture is conserved always. And so in the case of mass, so in the case of energy. Now, when we're talking about the entropy, entropy, as you now, most of you understand properly, right? It is conserved in certain circumstances, situations, like in reversible process, yes. But in irreversible process, no. Right? Universally, yes. But locally, no. So it depends upon the situation, circumstances, scale, horizontally, vertically, and temporal, according to time, right? And we also know that most of the atmospheric processes are not reversible. Most of the processes in the atmosphere are not reversible. Because many times, suppose when there is a change of a state, right, or change of phase, water vapor converting to liquid water or to ice, okay, falling out of the atmosphere onto the ground. So the atmospheric phenomena are not always reversible. But then again, that when we say that the atmospheric phenomena are not reversible most of the time, again, it depends upon the time scale, the horizontal scale. Locally, yes, it is not reversible. But globally, yes, it can be reversible in terms of a very long time. In the scale of millennium, it can be reversible. Right? So, after having discussed about all these things, now let's come back to our point, that what we were talking about in the beginning, that how we can apply the second law of thermodynamics or entropy in a global or a universal form, universal situation. Right? Are you able to see my PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So we are talking about now the generalized statement of the second law of thermodynamics. Okay. So far, we have discussed the second law of thermodynamics and entropy in a fairly informal manner, and only with respect to ideal reversible transformations. Ideal reversible transformations. Right? The second law of thermodynamics states in part that for a reversible transformation, there is no change in the entropy of the universe, right? Which most of you have understood by now, right? Most of you have said this correctly, that for a reversible change or reversible transformation, there is no change in the entropy of the universe. In other words, if a system receives heat reversibly, the increase in its entropy is exactly equal to the magnitude, exactly equal in magnitude to the decrease in the entropy of its surroundings. Right? For example, in terms of the atmosphere, right? You have got heating somewhere, then you have got cooling somewhere, right? You have got a high pressure somewhere, then you have got a low pressure somewhere, right? When we talk about the Earth system, Earth's atmospheric system, right? There may be a high pressure here, right? And always when there is a high pressure, in the northern hemisphere, the flow is like this. Circulation is like this, right? Then there will always be also a low pressure somewhere, low. Right? And when there is a low pressure in the northern hemisphere, the circulation will be like this. And so, in the global sense, suppose this is the Earth, the total mass of the atmosphere around the Earth remains conserved, global sense, but not locally, right? Not just over India, or not just over any particular country. Right? Globally, it is conserved. And so, in the case of other things also, if there is a heating somewhere, there is a cooling somewhere, because as we discussed earlier, the entire state is brought to equilibrium because of the winds that develop, right? The winds that develop. So the increase in its entropy is exactly equal in magnitude to the decrease in the entropy of its surroundings. So all natural transformations are irreversible to some extent. Examples of the irreversible transformations are the flow of heat from a warmer to a colder body and the mixing of the two gases, etc. If a system receives heat, say of the amount dQ irreversible at a temperature T during an irreversible transformation, the change in entropy of the system is not equal to dQ irreversible divided by T, because it is talking about the irreversible situation. However, the remaining part of the second law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of the universe increases as a result of the irreversible transformation, because the real situation, the real life phenomena is not always reversible, right? The two parts of the second law of thermodynamics stated earlier can be summarized as follows. Number one, the change in the entropy of the universe, delta S inverse, equal to the delta S of the system, that means entropy of the system, plus the entropy of the surrounding environment. Okay, that is number one. The change in the entropy of the universe is equal to 0 for the reversible or equilibrium transformation, and the change in entropy of the universe is greater than 0 for irreversible or spontaneous transformation, right? So this is what the laws of thermodynamics, or the second law of thermodynamics, can be stated in a generalized form, in a universal way, right? In a universal way. And everything you can visualize in terms of the day-to-day example of the life. You can visualize everything. Right? There is a change in entropy of the system, of the universe, and the total change is equal to the sum of the change in entropy of the system plus the change in entropy of the surrounding environment. Like when a cloud parcel, when a parcel of air, right? Initially, suppose you've got a cloud, right? And it's always Tc is greater than T. T is the temperature of the surrounding environment, let us say. Tc is the temperature of the cloud, right? Qc, the specific humidity of the cloud, is always greater than Q, the specific humidity of the environment, right? As long as the cloud exists. But you know that every cloud has a lifetime, right? Every cloud has a lifetime. After some time, the cloud will dissipate. The cloud will dissipate. And when it dissipates, it will impart its excess temperature or excess moisture to the surrounding environment. So that, again, the total change is the sum of the temperature of the cloud and that of the environment, or temperature, or the specific humidity or mixing ratio of the cloud and that of the environment, right? So in the totality, when we say in a generalized form, in a universal form, the total entropy of the universe is equal to the, or change in entropy of the universe is equal to the sum of the change in entropy of the system plus that of the surrounding environment. Will be 0, or the change in entropy will be 0 in a reversible process, right? And the change in velocity will be positive for a irreversible process. So that is what is the generalized application or law of thermodynamics when visualized globally. So the second law of thermodynamics cannot be proved, although it is believed to be valid because it leads to deductions that are in accord with the observations and experience. Right? So with this brief summary, the last summary that we have made here or stated here, right? We come to an end of the atmospheric thermodynamics, right? The application of thermodynamics in the atmosphere we have completed with this. Okay. In today's lecture, we have almost taken about 21 or 22 lectures to discuss about the atmospheric thermodynamics. Out of the total about 29-30 lectures that we have had so far, right? So, do you have any question until now? Anybody wants to discuss anything? Further, if you have got some idea during this discussion or anything which you have in your mind from your past discussions from our past classes, would you like to discuss anything now in today's class? Everybody is silent. If there is nothing to discuss today, then we can stop. It's already 1:52, I see. So let's stop today in that case. Right, I will stop sharing the screen. Right, and if no other points to discuss, then we stop the class. Right, and in our next class, we shall start a new topic. Okay, that will be on atmospheric radiation. The atmospheric radiation. Radiation also you have studied in your BSc, right? From the physics point of view. Shall discuss that from the atmospheric point of view, the atmospheric radiation, right? So is that okay? Shall we stop the class today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for today we stop the class and we shall now. Have you got the mail for tomorrow? So there is some program tomorrow. I'll stop recording. Tomorrow, I think we are